Hunt 'em Big with Steve Bartylla. Brought to you by Bush Hog, Easton, Reconics, Heater Bodysuit, and by Wildlife Research Center.
I'll tell you what, as serious hunters, when we see scrapes in the deer woods, it's almost impossible not to get excited. Especially when you see that great big scrape that's all tore up. You see that great big track in it, and you know what? You can't wait to get out there and hunt this area. Because you know Mr. Big's out there, and you know you're going to kill him. And you go out there and you sit, and you don't see him. And you sit again, and you don't see him. And you sit again and you don't see him, and you go back a fourth time, and now that scrape, it looks old, stale, and gross. The key to successful scrape hunting, to me, is to find those what I call primary scrapes, those scrapes that are hit consistently throughout that season, back in areas where the deer feel safe, where they will move during daylight hours, where they can have a very realistic possibility of working that scrape during legal bow hunting or firearms hunting hours. Those are the scrapes you want to key on. Many studies have been conducted on scrapes. They show that the overwhelming majority are made and completely ignored. And then you have a smaller subset that are hit again and again and again and again, but the majority of that scraping activity is after night. You have to find those scrapes that are hit again and again and again that are in areas that deer feel safe. And then keep your impact to a bare minimum and time it right. How do you pull all this off? First, you get out there in the spring. You get out there in the spring, or anywhere from the time season's closed to spring green up. You get out there then and you inspect these scrapes. What you want to find is either these overly large ones or ones with a bowl-shaped appearance. Either of those two types of scrapes show that these scrapes have been worked over and over and over and over again. Scrapes are the whitetail versions of advertising. Because of that, they seek locations that have certain characteristics. For the scrapes that are worked the hardest, they want to be in areas that are highly visible to high numbers of deer. No different than if you own a small business and you're taking out ads. You want your ad in the face of as many potential customers as you can put it. Same with scrapes in the whitetail world. So, those ones along that field edge, they may look great and they may get hammered, but odds are that's happening after night. Now you find that one back in the timber, just 100 yards off the field, 50 yards off of a food source, on that creek bottom, on those intersecting logging roads going through the woods, in that pinch point that the bucks are using to get from food to bedding or between two girl bedding areas, or the downwind side of those girl bedding areas. Those doe bedding areas are great places to set up on scrapes. Okay. You find them in the spring or after season closes, so you can evaluate how much use they got the year before. You can target the ones that were consistently hit because they are based off of the same type of traits that we look for advertising. Odds are, unless something is dramatically changed, that they're going to be in the same spot year after year after year after year. So go ahead and set your stand right then and there. Right then and there in spring, prep everything. If it's on public land, such as I'm on right now, you know what? You probably can't leave that stand up. But now when you come back this fall to hunt it, all you got to do is put that stand up and hunt. You don't have to prep that tree. You don't have to clear out any shooting lanes, that type of stuff. We want to keep our disturbances to a minimum because we want to strike when the iron is hot and these deer have no clue that they're being hunted in this location. And that means wait until the final week to 10 days before the chase phase kicks in. Here in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Illinois, Iowa, you're generally looking at that last week of October, first couple days into November. Now, after that, the bucks are way too busy trying to find does and to worry about working on their scrapes. You hunt during that phase, the right scrapes, and scrape hunting can be a tremendously effective tool. Another tremendously effective tool are mock scrapes. Make sure that you have licking branches around your stands where you want that shot to occur. If the licking branches aren't there naturally, go ahead and nail them to the tree if you can. Wire them to the tree if you can't nail them. But make those licking branches at nose level in an area where the ground is fairly open so they can see, in a spot where there is deer concentrations, and have that licking branch facing back towards the stand. You do that, when Mr. Big comes through, you're not sitting there going, bah, 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 trying to stop this thing, screaming at him like an idiot. Instead, he's going to stop right there at that scrape 9 times out of 10. And when he's at that scrape, his attention is focused away from you. Sure, you can go ahead and use Magnum scrape drippers, golden scrape, stuff like that to jack the odds. And it does help. But simply having that licking branch there also helps a ton. It helps a ton in focusing that buck's activity, his activities and his attention away from you, so you've got all day long to sit up there, come to full draw, find that spot and let that arrow fly.
Hunt 'em Big with Steve Bartylla. Brought to you by Bush Hog, Easton, Reconyx, Heater Bodysuit, and by Wildlife Research Center.
Scrape hunting can be very frustrating, but it can be extremely rewarding, provided you find those scrapes back in the timber, back in the deer cover where deer feel safe. You make sure you set up on those primary scrapes, you keep your impact to a bare minimum, and you come in when the iron is hot. When the timing's right, you strike. Also, never forget that you can go ahead and attach licking branches to trees around your stand to get them to stop where you want them to. You do those things, and I'll tell you what, scrapes are a beautiful, beautiful thing for the hunter.